Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys football. The fellas are heading back to the Big 12 as Baylor goes on the road and plays a Texas Tech team that has been very, very good at home. You take a look at Texas Tech sitting at 4-3. All three of their losses have come to very good teams and all on the road. On the road at NC State, on the road at Oklahoma State, and on the road at Kansas State. This Texas Tech team has played very well, and that 4-3 record really doesn't show up in how good they've played. I mean, they outgained Oklahoma State. They almost outgained Kansas State as well, and were able to not kind of come away with wins. But this Texas Tech team is playing extremely, extremely well under Coach McGuire. Excited to get into this one. Before we do, though, again, I just want to say thank you guys for the support you guys have shown the channel. If you do like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate all the support. Over 2,000 subscribers. That means a lot. You guys have been absolutely awesome, and we really do appreciate it. Let's start with this Baylor Bears team that, if you were talking to Baylor Bears fans, you're very disappointed in a 4-3 start in your first 7 games. High expectations, including from us. Again, the Baylor Bear fans checking us out in the summer, we were very high on this team. They had, in my mind, probably one of the best offensive lines in the Big 12, probably one of the best defensive lines in the Big 12. Coach Dave Aranda, I don't know if there's many other coaches you'd want to run your program outside of Coach Aranda. And if there is a coach that can keep his team focused after a less than ideal start to a season, it will be Coach Dave Aranda. Again, the guy is a mastermind on the defense side of the ball. You have a very, very good offense coordinator. And I do think Baylor will turn it around, but they are going up against a Texas team that I really, really like. Starting to get into the matchup, I think one of the big things you have to pay attention to is, can Baylor establish the run game? It's something they struggled to do in the first half of the season, but it's come alive. The last couple of weeks, they ran the ball extremely well against Kansas. The true freshman Richard Reese starting to run the ball extremely well. And you see that's what Baylor needs, and you look at how much they had success last year on offense, hitting those explosive plays in the run game, but also establishing play action. Both Bohannon last year and Blake Shapen this year kind of thrive when they get outside of the pocket, when they're able to kind of work off the play action bootlegs. Baylor needs to establish the run game and then kind of hit those explosive plays. Once they get that run game going, get the linebackers, get the safeties kind of sucked up. The big thing that we've been kind of pounding the table for this Baylor Bears offense is, where are the explosive plays coming from? You go back and watch that game against BYU on the road. I don't think they had to play over 20 yards the whole entire game. This Baylor team has struggled to find those explosive plays, and you look at their best offensive performance against West Virginia on the road, they were able to find a ton of explosive plays. That is kind of what you need for Baylor. We talk about it all the time when you're looking at offenses. One of the most important statistics is explosive plays. It is very hard for a college football team to go 12, 15 plays, march the football down the field, and score touchdowns without having a turnover, without having a holding penalty that puts you behind the chains. This Baylor team kind of struggled to do that. But when that offense is putting up points, they are finding some explosive plays. You have some guys who are some real game breakers. Gavin Holmes against West Virginia, kind of one of those guys. Monterey Baldwin, a guy with extreme game-breaking speed. Get the ball into their hands, try to get behind the defense and hit some of those explosive plays. And I think that's kind of the key for this Baylor Bears team, to go on the road and beat a very good Texas Tech team. And flipping the side, Texas Tech, I mean, again, sitting at 4-3, but this team it doesn't really show you the whole picture of how good this team has been under first-year Coach McGuire. You've kind of been playing quarterback roulette, right? You start out with Tyler Shook, gets hurt. Donovan Smith comes in. Although he was kind of efficient, or not efficient, but kind of moved the ball for Texas Tech, what he really struggled with was those interceptions. Again, he was completing 67% of his balls. He threw for over 1,500 yards, but 7 interceptions to only 12 touchdowns is a very, very hard recipe to win. And you look at some of those losses they picked up against Kansas State, Oklahoma State, a lot of that had to do with turnovers, not finishing drives in the red zone. This Texas Tech team does not have a problem moving the football down the field. It has a problem not turning the ball over and finishing drives in the red zone. I really like this Texas Tech offense, but the big question mark you'll have to look, and you'll probably see Morton come out on the field, is not turning the ball over and finishing drives in the red zone. You have 2 very good running backs in Roderick Thompson and Todd Brooks. And what I like most about this Texas Tech offense is, you look at the receivers and the guys catching the ball out of the backfield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys over 290 yards receiving. Again, Xavier White kind of being a guy like Miles Price, who's been banged up, like him a lot. It's like, this Texas Tech team can hurt you in a lot of different ways. They have a quarterback. They have 3 quarterbacks, in fact, that can kind of make any throw that they're asked to. Again, Coach Kitley is a phenomenal hire. You see that offense moving the football down the field. Now you just got to finish drives. When you get inside the 20, you got to be able to run the football, and you need to be able to keep the ball and not turn the ball over. That kind of seems to be the key to the game. Getting to the pick, I really do think this game's a toss-up. I don't think I will be rushing to bet this game. Again, in the Big 12, I'm not rushing to bet any game. It seems like on any given week, anything can happen. We've seen Oklahoma lose by 50. We've seen Oklahoma win by 50. We've seen Texas Tech look like one of the best teams in the Big 12, and then you've seen them not look so good. Same thing with Baylor. These are two teams that, if I had to back one team, I think Texas Tech has been the more consistent team in terms of day in, day out, playing good on Saturdays. But I don't like betting against Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears. We haven't had very much success. We took Kansas last week to come within 10. We weren't able to do it. I just have a little bit more faith in this Texas Tech consistently moving the football as opposed to this Baylor offense. I lean Texas Tech at home because they've been so good at home. But again, this is not a game that I'm itching to bet. I don't have a real play in it. I like both teams a lot. Again, I'm a huge fan of Dave Aranda. I'm a huge fan of what I've seen from Coach McGuire. It's going to be a fun one. And there's some optimism. There's some optimism in Lubbock with this Texas Tech Red Raiders team. Under the new coach, you have some really exciting young quarterbacks. I really like some of the players on defense. You look at guys like Tyree Wilson, who I think is legit a day 2 prospect. Phenomenal length, 9.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. You have some guys, Keyshawn Merriweather at that linebacker spot that you're really excited about. If they can win here, go to 5-3. This is going to be a really fun Texas Tech team to watch down the stretch. And then for Baylor, you do not want to go 4-4 in your first 8 games, especially as you were kind of favorites to win the Big 12. That would be extremely disappointing. It seems like a massive, massive game for both programs, kind of in the middle of their Big 12 conference play. It's going to be a good one. I think there will be a lot of points. And again, this might come down to a last-minute field goal. Whoever has the ball last with a chance to win. I really think this game's going to be close. I think it's going to be very good, but it's a hard one to bet. Again, appreciate you guys checking us out. If you do like the content, again, consider subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.